Okay, so we've died and we leveled as a necromancer, and we did like skeletons. We tried zombies at one point very briefly, but they cost a lot of mana, so I spiked out of them. We did skeletons, skeleton mages. We briefly tried summon wraith, but I don't think it's very good. I tried specking into it and using it immediately, but the point is, we tried playing a summoner in Last Epoch. I know that I don't really like summoners in other games, but I wanted to give summoner a try here so that I would have some kind of experience with how the game worked, and so that I would learn things that I would otherwise not be exposed to. So we learned, I think it was a six, five, six. I think it was like five or six things that we learned. We learned that if you're going to level as an acolyte, even if you plan to go necromancer, even if you plan to have a bunch of summons later on, you probably just want to level as a. Let's see. Let's go look at exactly what the skill is, so I'm telling you the right stuff. Wandering spirits for AoE, and then your single target as spirit plague. I think you just like level like that, and then like you get to like level 55, you get to monoliths, and then if you want to do something else with your acolyte, you just like swap over. So that's like thing number one. Thing number two, I think like leveling is really bad. All of these skills, like I didn't like skeleton. I leveled as archers. I thought that I was making good decisions. I was clicking on nodes that said like more damage. I was trying to get extra skeletons in here. I thought I was making good decisions based on like the previous 3 weeks or so of experience of clicking on the right nodes and trying to like use my brain to figure things out on the fly. But it didn't really work. We also leveled as skeleton mages. We had coming up to the frost mages to like use their ice shard skill, and then we were about to get +1 skeleton mage down here, and then like extra projectiles from this, trying to get some extra clear speed. But the AI was mediocre at best. It wasn't that bad. I found myself wanting to use Convocation from Path of Exile, but it doesn't really exist here. We tried specking into Summon Wraith at like level 26 or so, and spending a bunch of points here, but they just they die too fast. Maybe there's something like much later on that you could do with idols, but as a skill that you would spec into immediately and like use it for leveling, I think most of these, I get all of the skills that I spec'd into while leveling, felt very lackluster. The best minion leveling that I tried was summon volatile zombie, but it cost a ton of mana, and I wasn't really into it. I think this is probably the right way to go if you're gonna be like leveling and you want to be using minion damage while leveling, so that don't need to like respec in something later. Maybe that's fine, but I think just like generally speaking, like wandering spirits, spirit plague, zoom through the storyline, get to level 55, and then respec to something else that runs you later. Speaking of using summon volatile zombie in order to like scale minion damage early on, or like scale intelligence or something, but minion damage, we found out there's really not too much that you could use. We were looking through, what is this, the tunklab.com/gear planner website here, and we were trying to find like what are the ways that you could actually scale your damage. There's a couple prefixes on weapons that give you like minion melee damage, but I was doing a ranged caster skeleton mage and a ranged bow skeleton, right? So really, the only things that I found in here that scale your damage are there's a staff suffix that gives you percent physical minion damage, which is only some of my damage because a lot of my damage is like the cold or elemental stuff, right? And then there's also a one-handed scepter at level 21 called an oak scepter that has a implicit of minion damage. And then there's no prefixes and there's no suffixes that scale your damage. Okay, there's the minion physical damage, minion spell damage from before, but if you're not using spell damage, if you're not using physical damage, then like it's gonna be hard to actually get relevant modifiers in your gear to scale stuff. So not too into that. Of the things that we've learned, I do want to point out one more really important one that we found. I think this is the only instance of ever finding hidden information in Last Epoch. Most information you can find by jumping over into the game guide and like typing in ailment, and then you see like, oh, ailments work this way, and that's kind of cool because like over 100% chance to apply them, we'll have a chance to apply a second or a third one, right? So like there's a lot of information in the game guide that is not hidden, but I ran into something that I would call hidden, and that's in the minion tab in your character thing, your character screen that you pull up using C, that C button on your keyboard. There's something called Minion Power, which I had no idea existed, and there were people in chat as well who didn't know this existed. So I'll just read it to you. It says, from level 21 onward, you gain 0.5% minion power per character level. Minion power increases the damage your minions deal and reduces the damage that they take. Both of these are multiplicative with other modifiers. This means that at level 100, your minions deal 40% more damage and they take 40% less damage. So like the instances of your character like not having enough damage to kill things while leveling or not having good clear speed, or the instances of you feeling like you need to resummon your skeletons over and over and over while you're leveling. So those things will naturally get better as you spec more points into your masteries and into your the skills themselves, right? But there's also this little hidden thing in the character tab that I had no idea about. So this is like the reason that I wanted to go out of my way and try new builds. Like, you know, maybe I don't like playing summoner builds, but I never would have known about this unless I just did different stuff, tried new builds, and you know, kind of went out of my own comfort zone. So yeah, maybe you already know that minion power exists. Maybe you know about some other, you know, hidden mechanics that aren't really explained in the game guide here. But that's the only one that I've come across so far. So hopefully that's the only one, because I don't know, hidden mechanics. Listen, I play a lot of Path of Exile. There's a lot of hidden mechanics in Path of Exile, but finding one here, it kind of surprised me. So there it is. Maybe that's something that you can learn about as well. But we're not gonna play a summoner anymore, probably, given that I already don't really like summoners. But I think I learned enough about it. I'm gonna jump on and start playing a different build instead. I think that's what our plan is. So sounds good.